Have you ever felt totally certain that something was terribly wrong, only to realize later your emotions were just playing a trick on you? Well, today we're going to learn exactly how to catch those false alarms in real time.
Okay, let's dive right into the core of this. Have you ever been utterly convinced your quiet partner was furious with you, only to find out they were just incredibly tired from a long day? Or maybe you felt a sudden, terrifying spike of panic while sitting in a perfectly safe, quiet room. That bizarre phenomenon is exactly what we are decoding in this session.
To dismantle these cognitive distortions, here's our quick workshop syllabus. First, when feelings become false facts. 2, how arousal hijacks your logic. 3, the interpretation bias trap. 4, testing reality with objective evidence. 5, the rigor and reversal toolkit. And finally, mindfulness and daily stress habits. Let's get into it. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, when feelings become false facts. I feel, therefore it is. This quote brilliantly and honestly kind of terrifyingly illustrates the core flaw of this distortion. It completely bypasses empirical evidence. It's this deceptively simple logic loop. Let's say you feel super anxious before giving a presentation. Your brain automatically concludes you're definitely going to embarrass yourself. The emotion literally becomes both the question and the answer.
The crucial danger of emotional reasoning is that the emotion itself becomes your absolute proof. Psychiatrist Aaron Beck actually identified this exact phenomenon as the major driver in anxiety and depression loops. His cognitive triad shows how negative thoughts about yourself, the world, and the future all reinforce each other. And emotional reasoning? That's the superglue holding that whole toxic cycle together. Picture this. It's like you're playing a detective, but you are only examining your own internal emotional evidence with a magnifying glass. Meanwhile, you're completely ignoring the real, totally contradictory clues sitting right in front of you. There might be literally zero evidence that a situation is dangerous, but because you feel fear, your brain just slaps a danger label on reality. Think of your emotions using this really simple weather forecast analogy. A forecast gives you predictions based on atmospheric conditions, right? But sometimes the wind shifts and the rain never actually comes. Your emotions are the same way. They give you data about your inner state, your stress levels, your past traumas, how badly you slept last night, but they are not guaranteed facts about the outside world. Now, you might be wondering, what about my gut instinct? Notice how healthy intuition is completely different from emotional reasoning. Intuition relies on adaptable pattern recognition. It's usually this quiet knowing based on your accumulated experience. Emotional reasoning, though, that leans entirely on the intense, inflexible urgency of a feeling. Intuition can adapt to new facts. Emotional reasoning just stubbornly digs its heels in. So, why does our brain bypass facts so easily? Let's move to Section 2, how arousal hijacks your logic. Let's look under the hood. This is fascinating. When an environmental trigger spikes your emotional arousal, your brain physically inhibits the exact regions necessary for logical, complex reasoning. Your working memory capacity, or WMC, is essentially hijacked by the emotion. This makes it almost impossible to spot false alarms without external feedback, because the very mental tool you need to think logically is temporarily powered down. And this physical hijack leads us right into Section 3, the interpretation bias trap. If you deal with chronic anxiety disorders or, frankly, just high daily stress, this interpretation bias is a massive hurdle. It means an ambiguous event is automatically processed as a threat. Imagine someone not making eye contact with you at a party. A calm brain thinks, oh, they're just distracted. An anxious brain with interpretation bias immediately concludes, they hate me, I'm being rejected. This specific bias actively maintains chronic anxiety. Let's look at how everyday scenarios translate directly into false conclusions, just because our brain shortcut ignores the objective facts entirely. Say you feel jealous, but the facts show you have a totally faithful, loving spouse. The false conclusion? They must be unfaithful, because why else would I feel this sick to my stomach? It's the same with feeling terribly guilty without having actually wronged anyone. We falsely assume the intensity of our anxiety equals the reality of an actual threat. Okay, so we know how the problem physically and mentally happens. How do we fix it? Section 4, testing reality with objective evidence. Let's actually do a quick guided discovery pause right now. Seriously, I want you to think of a current stressor in your life. Hold it in your mind. Now ask yourself this specific question. What is my objective evidence right now? Not your feelings, not your assumptions, but cold, hard facts. Doing this is exactly how we begin to separate the feeling from the reality. To put this into practice, you want to actively use a step-by-step validity testing strategy. When your arousal spikes, first, just name the automatic emotion. Second, pause and aggressively look for external evidence. Third, try to defend your fearful assumption against those actual facts. Usually, you'll find you can't. And that leads to step 4, spotting the false alarm and recognizing the cognitive distortion for exactly what it is.
Let's expand our practical toolkit. Section 5, the Arger and Reversal Toolkit. Therapists use a structured therapeutic approach called the RGAR method. It's designed to significantly reduce emotional stress. It stands for rapport building, information gathering, goal setting, accessing resources, agreeing strategies, and rehearsing success. Now, you can adapt this for yourself by gathering objective information about your personal stressors, setting concrete goals, and mentally rehearsing exactly how you'll logically respond to a trigger before it even happens. You can also use really simple daily tools. Take cognitive reversal. This involves looking back at a past difficult scenario and actively applying new logic to it. It helps rewire old emotional habits. Add in a simple journaling habit where you list the stressful situation, the automatic emotion you felt, and your objective response. Over time, your own maladaptive patterns will become so obvious to you. And finally, keep using those guided discovery questions we practiced earlier to constantly challenge your base assumptions. Moving to our final module, Section 6, Mindfulness and Daily Stress Habits. Remember earlier when we learned that high arousal blocks logic? Well, the Human Givens approach emphasizes that lowering your emotional arousal is absolutely essential. Listen, you cannot simply think your way out of a panic attack while your heart is racing at 150 beats per minute. You must actively use mindfulness, deep breathing, and emotion-focused coping to lower your physical stress first. That is what physically reopens your brain's access to logical reasoning. I want you to use this practical checklist to verify if your current feelings match reality. Ask yourself, is a past bad experience driving this? Am I just in an unfamiliar environment that my brain is mistaking for a threat? And please watch out for positive emotional reasoning. This is such a sneaky one. Just because you feel a surge of absolute confidence about a risky financial investment doesn't mean the math actually makes sense. Positive feelings ignore facts just as easily as negative ones. Always ask, does this align with observable facts? I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to test your own biases. If a trusted friend presented you with solid evidence against your strongest feeling, would you actually consider it? Really think about that, because if your answer is no, you are likely trapped in emotional reasoning. Learning to actively evaluate your feelings rather than automatically trusting them will absolutely transform how you navigate your world, your relationships, and your own peace of mind. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see